Oh boy, there are some really great sounding, exciting new fragrances on their way soon to launch, and I thought I'd put together another video of around 20 different fragrances that are soon to land, ones that I'm looking forward to, and from different brands that I follow. One of them is actually a re-release. They're bringing it back after many fans of this particular fragrance have wanted it re-released because it was discontinued in the 2000s. But around 20 different fragrances. I'm going to let you know what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about upcoming releases. Most of these should land around sometime in the summertime, although some of them can or could have or should have launched by now, but are soon to launch. But that one fragrance I was telling you about is a re-release, will be launching in the fall, in autumn. But exciting stuff. Are there anything that you guys are looking forward to? Have you heard of anything that's coming out soon that you're excited about? Yeah, let me know. Add a comment below so that I can find out what you are looking forward to. But I'm going to continue doing these videos for you guys every 2-3 weeks of exciting new fragrances that are launching soon. Before I let you know what the fragrances are though, if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So first off, the fragrance I'm very excited about is a re-release of Jean Paul Gaultier's Gaultier 2. I guess after many fans have requested Jean Paul Gaultier to bring this back, they are relaunching it. I think the original was created by Francis Kurkdjian. I don't know if the update will be. Most likely it'll be his signature on it. And I don't know if it's changing or not, but I was a fan of this fragrance. It's a vanillic, ambery, musky fragrance. And I think there have been some fragrances that have come after this or around the same time that might actually be similar, but they are relaunching this particular fragrance, and there's a lot of fans of this one. And I guess Jean Paul Gaultier asked people which fragrance they should bring back, this one or another one, and I think unanimously people voted for this particular fragrance. And I'm excited about this one. But this won't be launching until the autumn, according to the Jean Paul Gaultier website. But I'm very excited for Jean Paul Gaultier 2. I'm looking forward to that. So moving on, there's two fragrances from the house of CARON. They're doing flankers of CARON's Pour un Homme de CARON. So there's one called Pour un Homme de CARON Le Matin, which features notes of ginger, oak moss, bergamot, gaillac wood, lavender, lemon, geranium, and petitgrain. So, you know, they're taking it into different directions. I think by now they've had so many flankers of this, but more flankers as of late. I think in the past there were concentration changes that were really great, but still sticking to the original formula pretty much. They launched Sport, which took it into kind of a more like a zingy direction. I think there was ginger and grapefruit. It could be just grapefruit. I'm forgetting what it is now. And then they also launched the Low, which kind of made it a little fresher and a little waterier. So now they have Pour un Homme de CARON Le Matin, and then they also have Pour un Homme de CARON Le Soir. So it's kind of like Petit Matin from Maison Francis Kurkdjian and Grand Soir from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. So they're doing it in a daytime and a nighttime version. So Le Soir features notes of orris, incense, vanilla, cypress, oak, lavender, ambroxan, violet leaf. Ozonic, it seems like it's going to go. But I love this fragrance. The original is a fragrance that my dad wore. I remember as a kid, maybe around 5 or 6 years old, really enjoying the lavendery kind of vanillic amber musk experience. So these two fragrances I'm excited for. I'm hoping they're really great. We shall see how they are. So Floris has a new fig fragrance which I haven't seen yet. I think it's called Mulberry Fig. That's soon to launch, but they also have another fragrance coming out soon, Platinum 22. I'm excited for the fig, and I love fig in fragrances, but this one sounds pretty interesting as well. It features notes of iris, blackcurrant, lime, rose, violet leaf, clary sage, black tea. So it seems like the violet leaves is going to add that kind of crisp and crunchy, kind of like apple-y, watery, cucumber, ozonic touch. So this is a really great note I enjoy. It kind of adds a freshness to the fragrance and also adds a kind of a watery experience, but it features the powderiness from the iris and then the fruitiness from black currant. There's rose thrown in and some aromatics and the tea, the black tea. So this seems like it's going to take it into a kind of a cozy direction. Moving on to the house of BDK, Villa Neroli. So they're adding a fourth fragrance in this blue bottle collection. I just featured sell the Argent in a underrated spring summer fragrances video. If you haven't caught that, please go catch it. But I'm always a sucker for Neroli and Orange Blossom. I absolutely love it, so I'm always curious to check it out, and this seems like it's going to be pretty solid. And it features notes of Orange Blossom, Neroli, Bulgarian Rose, Vanilla, Labdanum, Cashmeran, Moss, and Ambrox or Ambroxan. So yeah, it sounds really, really great. I like the addition of the rose and the Ambroxan. It seems like it's going into kind of an ambery base, definitely musky with the Cashmeran as well. So we shall see how it turns out. Moving on to the house of Wilhelm Parfumerie, To My Father. So this is not a joke. They did it on April Fool's Day. They did a joke with the Simpsons X Wilhelm Parfumerie kind of a thing, and I was like, wow, that sounds interesting, but definitely it was an April Fool's joke. But this one's definitely not. I'm not sure about the name To My Father. Maybe it's a dedication to the father of the owner of the brand. We shall see, but the notes sound really, really great in this one. Bitter orange, white oud, cabruva, whiskey, davana, oak, leather, juniper. Sounds really, really yummy. I think davana has kind of a licoricey aromatic touch, spicy, a little boozy, in the addition of the whiskey. So this seems like it's going to be a kind of a boozy experience that I actually really, really like the idea of. So we shall see how this one is. I do enjoy this particular brand. It is kind of like a distantly related brand to Byredo, and I know there are fans of Byredo, many, and then there are also like people that don't like the brand because they always complain that the fragrances don't last. But Byredo, just like Le Labo, has a major following, and people love the brand, and we actually have an actual physical Byredo store here in San Francisco. Of all brands, we have a Byredo store. So yeah, there's a major following. But Wilhelm also, I really do enjoy Wilhelm. I think Byredo and Wilhelm, they kind of have the same perfumers. Jerome Epinay does the fragrances, most of them for both brands. So we shall see how To My Father is. It sounds exciting. So 2 fragrances from 4711. This collection is starting to get really, really exciting to me, even though they're eau de cologne concentration with a little more of an intensity than general. And I found several of them that I really, really like, and they have 2 new ones coming out. So it's ACQUA Colonia Pomelo and Sea Salt. So it's basically the notes of Pomelo. It's the orange, or the, not the orange, but the citrusy, kind of a grapefruity experience with sea salt. That sounds like a really, really great idea. So maybe it's going to give us a little bit of a light marine experience, because saltiness in fragrances kind of adds that kind of marine type touch. And I like that contrast with the bitterness and the zinginess from like grapefruit pomelo with salt notes. So that is sounding really, really quite nice. And the next one is coconut water and yuzu. So once again, we're kind of focusing on a kind of a grapefruity type note of yuzu, but this one is with coconut water, so it's going to have like a creaminess. So both of them sound really, really exciting to me. I like this collection. I have 5. Maybe I should do a video on the house and do an overview, but I'm really, really looking forward to these 4711 ACQUA Colonia fragrances. Are you guys a fan of this collection? Do let me know if you can, and if you want to see a video on the 5 fragrances that I have in my collection. So moving on to the house of Frederic Malle. No, they're not launching a real actual fragrance. They're actually launching a linen fragrance, Dans Ton Lit. So I think that's how you say it. It's created by Dominique Ropion, but this is definitely like, it's a linen fragrance, so I'm assuming you can wear it, plus you can also spray all your linens, pillows, and whatever you want to spray. And it's definitely like priced less than normal fragrances are, so probably it's not going to be highly concentrated. It does seem like a very, very fresh, kind of a bright, sweet, citrusy kind of an experience with musks and things like that, but it features notes of orange blossom, neroli, bergamot, lemon, petitgrain, white musk. So Dominique Ropion has a fragrance for this house that is kind of similar in this, you know, style, orange blossom, petitgrain, neroli, kind of a eau de cologne like style. I think it's called Cologne Indelible. Is that correct? So this one seems like it is similar in that it's going to be specifically for linens, but I'm assuming you can wear this stuff. Like Le Labo has fragrances that are for room, and they have a really great petitgrain. I absolutely love that one. They also have an anise that also smells great, and I wouldn't mind wearing them, but you know, I don't buy them because they are room sprays, but I've sprayed them on. They have decent performance. I like some of those smells. But yeah, this one sounds great. Dans Ton Lit. I think that's how you say it. So Ferragamo is a house that I have not really dug into, and I've been waiting for their intense leather, although I think it's been launched, but it kind of quietly launched, and I never really, you know, checked it out and bought it. Is it any good? Let me know. I know that they have them here nearby, like Macy's and Nordstrom sells it. I just never went and smelled it myself, but they have a new one called Bright Leather, so most likely it's a flanker of this intense leather, and it is kind of taking it into like a more, brighter direction, and more, like a easier to wear kind of a direction is what I should say. It features notes of bergamot, mandarin orange, musk, white leather, patchouli, grapefruit, cedar. So when they say something like white leather, they're just calling it white leather, so probably they're using a different kind of a leather process to make it less difficult to wear, a lot easier to access, like easier accessibility kind of a thing. So is there such a thing as white leather? I think it's all leather, so they're just trying to kind of capitalizing on the marketing of this particular fragrance called Bright Leather, and they're calling it white leather. But I don't know if the original was great, Intense Leather, let me know, and I don't know if this one sounds great, but it does sound interesting to see, and I kind of want to circle back and get into Ferragamo fragrances again, because I've not dug into this house at all for a long time. So let me know if that sounds exciting to you. Moving on to the house of Penhaligon's, it's Sports Car Club. What's going on with Penhaligon's? They do have some great fragrances, although they are discontinuing a lot of fragrances. They're part of the Puig group, which also owns a lot of brands like L'Artisan Parfumers under there, and Carolina Herrera, Comme des Garçons, many brands are under there. But this one sounds really interesting because it has pine, eucalyptus, ambroxan, musk, cypress, pink pepper. So it seems like taking all kinds of different woods together, the eucalyptus tree, the pine tree, the cypress tree. So these trees have a very fragrant experience. Eucalyptus, pine, cypress, they all have a very unique smell. So this, along with some spices and musk and ambroxan, I do think that it's going to go very masculine, and I like the idea of this one a lot, to see how it is. So moving on to the house of Lancome, this is a fragrance that's coming out in their upper scale kind of like private collection of fragrances. I'm drawing a blank with the name. This one's called Mille et une roses. So I guess it translates to 1001 roses. Is that correct? I always like roses and fragrances, and I think this collection is pretty solid, although they do discontinue a lot. Lancome being under L'Oreal, they're discontinuing a lot. Like they discontinued Iris Dragée recently, which I am a fan of. But this one seems like it's loads of roses with grass rose, bergamot, mandarin orange, amber, and pear. So not necessarily gourmand, because they do have quite a bit of gourmand in this collection. This one seems just very fresh, but lots of roses, a kind of a deep, rich, maybe perhaps juicy, jammy rose experience with an ambery base with fruits and citruses. Sounds nice. So moving on to the Laboratorio Olfattivo house. Last year they launched two actually, and the year before that they launched one. So they have 3 fragrances in a citruses collection in the green bottles, which are I think eau de colognes from what I remember. So very fresh and easy to wear. This year they're launching Arancia Rossa, which is blood orange, which always sounds great. I love blood orange, especially when I go to Italy. I drink a lot of blood orange, juice, because it's really tasty there. So the fragrance idea sounds really great as well. But it features notes of blood oranges, orange blossom, passion fruit, white musk. I'm not sure why they're throwing in the passion fruit, which kind of takes on a tropical fruity direction, but we shall see. I really like blood orange and fragrances, and I'm quite excited for this one. This is a less expensive collection of fragrances, and again, they are lighter fragrances, perfect for really warm days to smell. Now last week I did a underrated citruses video, I think I mentioned it earlier, and I featured a fragrance from the house of obvious Parfums, Un Vervain. Now Parfums de NICOLAI is launching Riviera Verbena. I was saying we need more verbena fragrances, and actually one of you guys said you should do a video on verbena fragrances. I don't have many. I think Un Vervain is probably the only one. It might appear in other fragrances, kind of like not as a prominent note, but I don't have many. But this one sounds really nice. It's thyme, Egyptian jasmine, lemons, curly mint, blackcurrant, patchouli, and verbena. Sounds really nice. And if you don't know what verbena is, it's an herb that has a lemony, characteristic. So it's herbal and also lemony at the same time. It's a wonderful herb to feature in fragrances because it takes on a citrusy characteristic without even adding citruses. So this sounds really great. And I'm always seeing when they add verbena to fragrances, I'm seeing the citruses of lemons. and they do complement one another. So this Riviera Verbena sounds really, really exciting. So moving on to the house of Christian Louboutin, there's a new fragrance in the collection called Lubimar. Lubimar is a brand new bottle. They haven't had a bottle like this. So I'm wondering if this is taking into a kind of a fresh direction, because everything else has pretty much been pretty intense experiences, but this one has the salty notes, and it's called Lubimar, Mar meaning the sea, I'm assuming. We shall see, but it's a fragrance created by Caroline Demure, features notes of lemons, tuberose, musk, and salty notes. Always curious to check out these fragrances from the house of Christian Louboutin. Are you fans of this one? Yes, I'm going to be doing that top 10 list very, very soon. I'll probably do it before I do this or pick up this bottle from Christian Louboutin, and then maybe perhaps follow up with a review of Lubimar. But let me know if you're a fan of this collection. I know they're a little gaudy bottles, really over the top, but I think there's some good you know, creations in the collection with some you know, excellent perfumers. And last but not least, Karl Lagerfeld is launching 2 different fragrances, and I need to dig into this house because they never really made it here in the States except for the discounters. No department stores was carrying the brand. But they have 2 fragrances now launching. They announced one for women like almost a month ago, and now they just announced a men's version. They're in new bottles. Very, very interesting that they're adding these new bottles. They've dropped the other collection, and I think they're kind of like, you know, spicing up their look or image a little bit. So the women's is called Karl Lagerfeld Rome Divino Amore. And it features notes of neroli, petitgrain, oranges, bitter orange, jasmine, orchid, sandalwood, amber, and musk. Sounds pleasant. Sounds like something like the new Polo Earth from the house of Ralph Lauren. That is a unisex fragrance. Let's see how this one is. Throwing in the orchid, is it going to go into a light tropical direction? We shall see. And the men's is called Vienna Opera. And this features notes of black pepper, sandalwood, grapefruit, lavender, cedarwood, basil, sage, apple. Sounds like an aromatic, fruity, woody, spicy kind of a fragrance. I hope they're good. I really hope they're good. They are distributed by Inter Parfums. They also distribute brands like Dunhill and Van Cleef & Arpels and some other brands as well. So these sound exciting. I don't know if they're going to make it here. Most likely they'll make it to the discounters if they don't make it here, but I'm excited for them. And that's the last fragrance I'm talking about. I have one bonus. You can stick around to find out what that is. But let me know what your thoughts are on these fragrances. Have you been excited for these? Are there any other fragrances that you are excited for? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. So I do have one bonus fragrance. In fact, I mentioned this particular fragrance last week in a Goldfield & Banks video review for Sunset Hour. I said there's a new fragrance coming out very, very soon. And once again, this is an exciting fragrance from me from this house. And whereas Sunset Hour went all feminine, this particular fragrance, the other one that's launching like very, very early June or late May, is all very, very masculine. And it smells really, really great. It sounds like it's going to be perfect. I'm not allowed to share the name or anything about this particular fragrance yet. I have found out what the name is, but be prepared for this launch. It is coming soon, and I think it's going to be pretty solid. It's a pretty masculine note, although I think it's a very unisex offering, but it leans very, very masculine. Whereas Sunset Hour is a unisex offering, it leans feminine. This new one's going to lean masculine. So stick around for that. I will be doing a review for it very, very soon, once it's announced. Either way, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. Stay tuned for another video tomorrow. Bye-bye.